Good evening and welcome to tonight's Overture Forum, a conversation with Overture's resident companies. I'm Emily Greenwald, Vice President of Development at Overture Center for the Arts, and I am so excited for tonight's conversation. Way back in August at our first Overture Forum, we talked about the state of the arts industry, and many of you had a lot of great questions about what the pandemic meant for resident companies. Well, tonight we have everyone, all 10 resident arts companies leadership gathered to have that conversation. We hope to answer your questions as well, so please use the chat function to comment and ask questions throughout the presentation. Now, I'm excited to welcome our resident expert in resident companies, Vice President of Operations, Jackie Goetz, who has been working with our resident companies on their plans, not just for the last year, but almost for the last 3 decades. Jackie, can you please give us a little bit of the history of Overture, the Madison Civic Center, and resident companies?
Sure, I would be happy to. Thank you, Emily. Hello, everyone. I'm glad you're all joining us this evening. I'm Jackie Goetz. I'm VP of Operations at Overture, and I've worked with the resident companies for, as Emily said, many years. Tonight, thought I would talk briefly about Overture's relationship with the resident companies. In its early stages, as we transitioned from the Madison Civic Center to Overture Center for the Arts, it was critically important to the donors that Overture Center be home to a range of local arts groups. This is in addition to expanding on existing programs like Overture Presents and Broadway. Some of these local arts groups already called Civic Center home, while others were in need of a home. Today, 10 resident organizations call Overture home, and in the year prior to the pandemic, these thriving arts groups produced and presented 280 performances. They hosted 225 non-performance events and activities. CTM held 210 class sessions over 44 days for summer drama school, and the James Watrous Gallery was open 5 days a week. Since then, of course, our world has changed. The pandemic put an abrupt halt to all of this energy in art, the fun and vitality, and it has challenged us all in ways we never would have imagined. But if there is one bright light in all of this, it's how all of our organizations have pulled together to share information, to lift each other, commiserate, and to plan for our return. And this unity and strength is evidenced by all of the companies being here tonight. So thank you, resident companies, for your support and your collaboration. It's been so important to us during this time. Now I would like to hand it off to Tim Sauers, our VP of Programming and Marketing and our moderator for the evening.
Thank you, Jackie. Hi, everybody. It's so great that you're all joining us, and how great to have all of you resident companies together. I don't think we've ever done anything like this before in the history of Overture, and it's great to have us all together, but it's unfortunate why we're all together. You know, really, the pandemic, we've all closed down since March, and it has impacted us all greatly during this time. And what I would love to start the conversation off is if you could all introduce yourselves and your organization and share how the pandemic has impacted your organization and maybe what's upcoming for your organization.
Well, I'll jump in. I was pegged to go first. I'm Jen Gray. I'm Artistic Director of Forward Theater Company, the resident professional theater company here at Overture Center. We're in our 12th season. And yes, as you'll hear from all of our organizations, this has been quite a bumpy roller coaster of a year. For Forward, we were in technical rehearsals for the final main stage production of our 2019-2020 season. We had to close that production, The Amateurs, down on sort of a very, very short notice. You'll hear that theme throughout the evening. We just began to, here's another word we all dread at this point, pivot, as we, adapted to the changing realities all around us. So we took our New Work Festival this past summer. That became a festival of Zoom play readings. Our September main stage production was done as a fully produced digital piece of theater where all of the artists were working from their own homes. Our next upcoming production called The Niceties, which is coming in January, same deal. It's going to be rehearsed all from the artists' own homes to keep everybody safe. But early on, we just decided that we were going to produce a full season and honor every artist and technician's contract to the best of our ability. And I know that many of my colleagues here tonight have been able to do the same. It's really rare, and I think it's because of support from such a tremendous arts-loving community here in Madison that many of us were fortunate enough to be positioned to do that. So looking forward to hearing any of your questions and answering them later on this evening.
And I'm next. I'm Kathryn Smith. I'm the General Director of Madison Opera. So the most obvious impact for us was the loss of our main stage productions, which we do at Overture. But we also lost, after the final dress, a concert with the Wisconsin Youth Symphony Orchestra, a film series, and all the other events we do. And so for me, back in March, when everything shut down, I realized I had two essential jobs. And the first, as Jen alluded to, was to figure out how to keep paying people. An opera production involves hundreds of people. The entire industry was suddenly out of work, and most could not get unemployment as their contractors. So Madison Opera committed to paying people. No one with a signed contract by us is going unpaid this year. As Jen said, that's very much thanks to a generous Madison community. My second job was to figure out how to keep making music. And, we're opera singers, so we don't shut up. Opera in the Park was supposed to celebrate its 19th summer in July, so we went virtual, which was at the time kind of a new idea. The same soloists who would have been in the park recorded with themselves in their hometowns. Our chorus did a digital anvil chorus. The entire thing was shared at the same time we would have done the live concert. It was seen in 49 states and 21 countries. People sent us photos of distanced backyard gatherings, so we still had that experience under the same night sky. It was a million times more work than just doing the concert, but it was worthwhile. While we were doing that, we also announced a digital fall lasting September through December. We've had 11 events so far. We have 3 more scheduled for December. And again, we sort of looked at what we normally do. So there's music. We've held monthly streamed recitals from the Madison Opera Center Rehearsal Hall. And we got lucky in a weird way I feel guilty about, because even the greatest opera singers are grounded right now. All the houses are closed, and there's some very famous singers who live in Wisconsin who are happy to come sing with us. And we also even premiered a work by a Wisconsin composer. Our audience loves the roundtables we do before each production, so we've been doing a monthly roundtable on different topics. Madison being an academic town, our audience also loves lectures, so I've been doing monthly multimedia talks on various opera topics, and we're able to ask questions and have a conversation. We've even managed to keep some of our community activities. We have high school apprentices. One of our principal artists did a master class via Zoom with UW instead of in person. And since we can't perform in retirement communities, we are sharing the Live from the Opera Center recital series with them, which they broadcast in-house. And so now I'm deep into planning digital winter, which involves the same kinds of things, figuring out the spring, figuring out opera in the park. Flexibility is the name of the game as we keep making music safely and keep our community and our artists healthy.
I'm Sam Crownover. I'm the executive director of Bach Dancing and Dynamite Society, which is a chamber music festival. It's 3 weeks every June. We have musicians from around Wisconsin and from around the country come to perform with us. We perform traditional and contemporary classical music. And our home is Overture Center, and we do perform also in some very special places outside of Madison, like the Stoughton Opera House and the Hillside Theater at Taliesin in Spring Green. We will be hopefully celebrating our 30th season next year with Stephanie Jutt and Jeffrey Sykes as our artistic directors. And as you'll hear, everyone has had to create some sort of virtual season. We did the same last June. We created a 3-week virtual festival, and we utilized footage from previous concerts, as well as asking our musicians to perform something at home. It was all by Bach. We don't always perform Bach, so the people that love, our audience members that love Bach, got their Bach fix this year. Moving forward, what we're going to be doing is, first of all, we've created a program called Music for Life. And this is where we're setting up virtual musical visits between one of our musicians and a patient in isolation at the University Hospital or Oakwood Village, University Ridge, and other places around town that have those who are sick and healing and recovering. And these private live concerts will last about 25 minutes. And it's going to be a great one-on-one concert for people that, you know, just can't get out but need some kind of uplift. We'll also plan for next June season, however we can reach our audience. And as usual, we're planning fun surprises like outdoor pop-ups and other kinds of creative programming. My artistic directors, there's no shortage of what they are dreaming up. So they always keep me on my toes. But we miss everybody, and we've been so grateful for all of the audience support through this time. I'm glad to be together with my colleagues, and we're so happy to reach out to you tonight. So thanks for having us again.
I'm Lisa Thorell, co-artistic director of Canopy Dance Company. And we have been a resident company since 2004. Canopy is in its 43rd season. Robert Cleary and myself have been directors for 23. So boy, this has been a huge, huge pivot is the word of the hour. You know, dance is a high contact sport and lots of close proximity. So there's so many challenges to navigate in rehearsal, etc. And even the creation of the art needs to be with people together in close contact. So for us as a mid-sized modern contemporary dance company and academy, we decided that rather than trying to stage new virtual performances this season, we just do not have the budget to orchestrate the film production needed, the quality video, and having dancers in a bubble to create that kind of new work. So we decided instead that we would focus on Canopy's Academy, which is integral to our mission of dance and dance education, educating and training dancers, and providing meaningful performance. So our platform moves to Canopy 2, our pre-professional training company and program. And so we have focused on virtual teaching, full program of teaching since spring, pivoted with the public schools. And our 2 seasons in the spring, plus our all school shows, canceled out. We were in rehearsals with the company for our April show when that cut out. And our guest artist intensives, that usually is where we create the work during the summer for part of our season, that had to be canceled out as well. And for us, these guest artists were unable on their end as well to join us in any fashion with the extremity of the situation. So we have created virtual programming where the students have been learning and continuing to learn, on the upwards of 25 classes a week, all ages. We've managed to sustain that teaching, and our Canopy 2 pre-pro students have been fortunate then this summer and through this season to have guest teachers from Chicago and New York, some of the illustrious directors of different dance companies, master teachers from all levels and areas to teach and train these students. And our company, in fact, in as well. We do have some film projects that we are doing. We are working with Socolo Theater Dance Ensemble in New York, Loyola College, Williams College, and 3 other dance companies, and Ailey Fordham. And we are working on a joint venture of Socolo's Rooms, and it's a full-length masterwork about isolation. So our Canopy company and students and some alumni as well are working on this virtual platform that's continuing. We'll be creating a film version that we'll be showing. In addition, we are creating a film production of a work of mine, Chaconne, a yearning, uplifting work that we will be reimagining with a videographer, and we will be producing that in the spring. You know, I think one of the most important things for me right now is engaging people and these students and these young people that we teach, that they've hung on and they're taking these virtual classes in their small spaces. They're doing dance and they're learning from all these great artists, and they are continuing to do it. And the creativity and the expression and the love and the desire that's coming out from them, and that they won't give up even though they're in school virtually, and then they're trying to take dance class virtually, and it's just too much, right? And they're still doing it, and they want to do it, and they have to do it. And so that creative expansion is what's keeping me sane right now, and as a teacher and an educator, keeping me going and looking down the road to the future. Of course, we expect to bring back all our guest performers and choreographers and choreographies as soon as we can in the next seasons. You know, and we will continue to use some of these hybrid approaches actually to continue to have these master artists in teaching our students and company. So that said, we've pivoted drastically and we're on the road to recovery here.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jonathan Solari. I'm the CEO of Madison Ballet. It's so good to be in such good company and to be with our Overture family tonight. The day that we realized that it became clear that this pandemic was going to close our production of A Midsummer Night's Dream, which was meant to be a great return to the Capitol Theater, the Overture stage beyond the Nutcracker. An article was published in the Wisconsin State Journal, Madison Ballet's Happily Ever After. And in it, it outlined a really incredible year for us that saw the opening of our new studio on Odana Road, where our school lives. As I mentioned, expanded performances, new performances, a larger company of dancers. There's a great deal of momentum that we had built that was unfortunately, like all of us, like all of our lives and all of our places of work, a wall was put up by this pandemic, and we had to prioritize the health of our community and the health of our artists and our students. So we had to close our doors. We had to temporarily suspend our operations. And as we've been slowly learning to adapt and emerge from this pandemic, we've opened our doors to virtual learning, focused, as Canopy has, as a lot of our colleagues have, on how to provide meaningful opportunities to connect with our audiences, those that thrive in the presence of the arts or learning from the arts, and providing online classes. So the School of Madison Ballet is offering, and has been since the end of the summer, classes for all ages and all abilities at every level. And we've unfortunately not been able to produce the level of work that we're used to. At this time, we're typically in rehearsals in the midst of the Nutcracker season. And that's not possible for us this year. So we're focusing on what is possible. And we're taking great inspiration from our students who show up every day, ready to learn, ready to dance, ready to try new things, adapt and evolve. And as we look to next year, to our 40th season as an organization, we're hoping to learn from everything that we've experienced this year to be able to touch more lives. And we think of ourselves as an organization that serves this community first and foremost. We happen to do that through dance, but we're here for Madison, for Dane County, and for you all. So thanks so much for being here with us tonight.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alan Ebert. I am the Executive Director of Children's Theater of Madison, and thank you for taking time this evening to listen to all of us. Sometimes it can be, you hear impact and we think maybe negative, and there's also some great positives coming out of this. I know that for Children's Theater of Madison, we are really assessing what we've done in the past, what has worked, what hasn't worked, and how do we evolve? Because I think we're all going to come out of this changed and different. And one thing that is really at the core of what we want to strive for is how to make our programs accessible to all youth, not just some youth. And so we're working on that, and it's a continual journey. It was really, like everyone said, challenging when the pandemic hit. I mean, we were about ready to launch Peter Pan in the Capitol Theater, our second Capitol Theater show, and we have not done that in our history for a long time. So it was a big undertaking. And it was the night before opening when the order came down, and the cast and crew was able to perform that last dress rehearsal to a very limited audience. But I think that's the thing that we all miss is the audience and our community being together and feeling, having our hearts beat as one as we're watching a music performance or a dance performance or a theatrical performance. We did a quick, like Jen pointed out earlier, pivot, that word, because we already had our summer theater camps in full swing, meaning that we have a lot of people sign up before we even get to summer. We had over 500 youth already signed up for summer theater camps when the pandemic hit. Usually we have around 600 youth that come through in the summer. That all switched to virtual. And I'm happy to say that we were able to serve 200 youth that stayed on. And I can tell you it was magical and inspirational. And it really kept the teaching artists going, kept the staff going. And it was really vital for those students to have that social emotional connection, even if it was through a screen. From there, we had to cancel our fall shows. And what we decided to do is do what CTM from the vault. We had a couple of archival shows that we got rights for to be able to do a pay-per-view. It was a great way to stay connected. And I think that's one thing that we're learning is how can we stay connected with our community? What's meaningful to you all that we can continue doing or change? And that led us to what we're going to be doing over the holidays. And I won't get into it now because that's another question that Tim's going to be bringing up. So I'll talk more about what we're doing around the holidays that I'm really excited about. And another project that we're working on is around social injustice and racism. And how can we provide maybe some resources or programming that you could use with your families and young ones to talk about these difficult topics? And so we are going to be producing 4 short stories by Idris Goodwin. And we have K through kindergarten through 1st, 2nd grade. Then you have 4th through 6th grade, middle school and high school. And this project is a completely BIPOC-led project. So we've hired staff. They're producing this right now, and those will be released soon, and they'll be free of charge. We've worked with our great community who has helped underwrite this project. So it's zero charge to share that with the entire community. So we're going to be sharing that with you all coming up here soon. As we look toward the spring and summer, it's not looking so great right now, as you can all see the numbers. And so we're most likely not going to have a spring show. So we're looking at what we're going to do in place of that. And we're still hoping for the possibility of a limited audience hybrid of Peter Pan in early summer. And again, that could change. And we'll also be transitioning to a new facility for educational programming, the Madison Youth Arts Center. And we're hoping to do a hybrid, hopefully limited in-person summer stage in the summer. So that's where we're at today.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Lanus. I'm the CEO of the Wisconsin Chamber Orchestra. Thanks to all of you for joining us tonight. It's great for all of us to come together. You might know the Wisconsin Chamber Orchestra best for our summer series called Concerts on the Square, which started in 1984. We've been around for 61 years. That summer series has 250,000 people come to the square annually. What we're not quite as known for is our great indoor series at the Capitol Theater in our Masterwork series. We also do Handel's Messiah with the Festival Choir. We do the annual Nutcracker with the ballet. We also have pretty robust education programs, a mentoring program at Lucier Community Education Center, family programs at Goodman Community Center, as well as Warner Park. We do an annual Young Concerto competition, as well as youth side-by-side with the Wisconsin Youth Symphony Orchestra. And we're currently, well, we planned on it this past year, but we're currently have hopes to grow in the Brookfield market at the Sharon Lynn Wilson Center for the Arts. When the pandemic hit for us, we were midway through our indoor season, and we took a step back and we wanted to evaluate how we wanted to move forward. And the premise of our activities was really to think about how all of us, bring meaning and connection to everybody through our art form. So with that premise, we wanted to remain relevant and continue to find ways to perform safely while also try to keep our musicians working and get paid, because this is obviously a tough time for the arts. So over the last 6 months, we've done a lot of pivots, as people have said. We've done an in-home #Concerto series to feature our musicians. We've partnered with Channel 3000 to do an entire summer series featuring our musicians at unique spots all around town. And then we had to figure out what the heck we were going to do with Concerts on the Square. So we took it off the square and brought it to Breeze Stevens Field for a 2-concert live performance at Breeze Stevens Field on August 25th and September 1st. And it was very interesting going from playing in front of 50,000 people to 25, which was the current health order at the time, but we were able to leverage a partnership with Warner Park and beam a live stream over to a drive-in format, as well as what Kathryn said, we were able to stream it all around the US and around the world. So we definitely flexed our muscles and developed some new capabilities that we will probably have to use for the near future. Coming up, we just announced last Friday, we are doing a winter chamber music series at the Sylvie in downtown Madison on the near east side. It'll be a 4-concert program that will replace our indoor Masterwork series. One of the biggest challenges as an orchestra is having 50 people on stage, and half of them are blowing air through their winds and brass instruments. So the ensembles are very small, anywhere from trios to octets. As all of us, we probably are all experts in HVAC, and we definitely had to figure out how that impacts our musicians on stage. But safety is first and foremost for all of us. But again, we want to find a way to provide meaningful experience for all of us through this really difficult time while keeping our musicians working. So that's what we have lined up. And we're already looking at Concerts on the Square 2021. Don't know where it's going to be yet. Hopefully on the square, but if not, we'll find a place similar to Breeze Stevens. So thanks again for being here and supporting the arts.
Hi, everyone. I'm Li Xiaoping. I'm the artistic director of Li Xiaoping Dance, which I founded in 1990. And we established here in Madison in 1995. Our first performance was at the Madison Civic Center Isthmus Playhouse, if any of you remember that space. I hope you're all safe and healthy, and I miss seeing people on stage in person. We had managed by March to hold our 6th of 7 free public events that we were doing, a series called the 7 Days Dancing, before the stay-at-home order. We got our 6th one in just in the nick of time, and it was just amazing to get to perform for over 800 people at the Chazen Museum of Art. I hope some of you guys got to see it and weren't squished in the in that experience. It was just wonderful to get to explore the meaning of spaces and places as part of that exploration. And this has been quite a year of exploration, I'd say, and challenge. When this hit us, as it has hit us all, I talked to my dancers and the staff, and we tried to figure out what to do, of course. And I really took my cue from them. They said they really wanted to stay connected. And by continuing to dance together and rehearse together via Zoom, we remained grounded and engaged and employed, which is important. I learned how to choreograph, or at least I tried to learn how to choreograph via this technology. And as Lisa was saying, yeah, it's not quite the natural way that we do things with dance. And yeah, like everyone has said, it really tested our resilience and our adaptability, and really, asked me to be inventive. Actually, I had rehearsal with them yesterday, and I said that what we were working on were Zoomerific performances. This spring, we had to cancel our spring show. It was a production that was to travel through the images and ideas of Dante's Divine Comedy. However, a performance we were going to be doing at the Orchestra Center shifted into me making a screen dance work, a dance for camera work that premiered there at their website. Also, our summer dance intensive changed, like everybody's. We changed to the online format, and it was later in the summer, and we renamed it the Seed Festival, naming it the Seed for Summer Exploratory Experimental Dance, focusing on innovation and exploration and experimentation, excuse me, and process over product. One of the positives out of this was that we reached a lot of people. We were able to, for instance, offer small seed grants to people in San Jose, California, Las Vegas, Nevada, Provo, Utah, and so far away, Milwaukee. And we were also reaching audiences as far away as Spain and all across the US. We, in October, just had a live stream performance pre-election that was for a national audience, and it showcased my work about immigration, a piece called Landed. And I actually was able to make 4 new sections for that work, where I was able to bring in the stories of my dancers into it. So I'm very fortunate. You can see from my my background, I have a very diverse company, and I was able to really make their voices heard, bring that forward. Also, we premiered a new work called Here Lies the Truth, which is the last screen of that piece is to vote. So I felt very proud of that. We were continuing to work on this still. And our spring show, this 2021, will be virtual probably. And we are keeping our fingers crossed for an in-person May concert at the Overture Center. I'm holding out. I have not changed plans from that yet. Yeah, I guess I wanted to just say that we feel good about the work we've done with technology, learning how to do live stream Zoomerific performances. And, in spite of some of my dancers moving away, and, I'm sure some other people have experienced this, I'm able to still work with them. And that's kind of amazing that opportunity, that's not really an obstacle that's unmanageable. So maybe that's something for the future as well. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jody Clark, the director of the James Watrous Gallery on the 3rd floor of Overture Center.
we're of course a program of the Wisconsin Academy of Sciences, Arts, and Letters. And I'll try my best. I'm Jody Klaus, the director of the James Watrous Gallery on the floor, and we're part of the Wisconsin Academy of Sciences, Arts, and Letters. This year was our 150th anniversary, which is just heartbreaking in the sense that we had so much programming planned for this. Right after Gala, we opened our exhibition Collections and Connections and had to close it on March 13th, of course. But one of the positives of that was that we got a video tour of that put together, which is available right now. And that's something we had never done before. So that was kind of exciting. But in conversations with the artists who had exhibitions scheduled for this year, most of them felt that they would rather postpone their exhibition, even if it were going to be a couple of years, because we program fairly far out. So all of those have now been programmed out, and we're looking at almost into 2023 now, which is remarkable. We are exploring the possibility for the spring, if we're not able to be back at Overture, of a pop-up exhibition in town. That's something I would love to do. But of course, we'll be back in residence at Overture sometime by mid, we'll see. We have pivoted to some degree to showcasing the visual arts in our magazine. We publish Wisconsin People and Ideas, and that's been a great forum, and using our social media presence. But really, our visual arts programming is pretty quiet right now. But we do have a regular Facebook Live series for the winners of our poetry contest on Facebook Live every Thursday at 10 a.m. and have gotten a great audience. And we're also planning a series of online talks coming up on the roots of democracy with a series of experts on native systems of governance, on ancient Greek democracy, exploring how some of these streams of political tradition have fed into the American Constitution, which feels pretty timely. So that
I'm sorry, Jody, it looks like we're having a little bit of difficulty hearing you. And it looks like a frozen screen. Shall we,
Yeah,
Rick,
so
shall we move on to you?
Yeah, let's do that. And then we'll see if Jody comes back to us.
Hi, everybody. Rick Mackey with the Madison Symphony Orchestra. Such a pleasure to be here with you, and thanks for tuning in. Madison Symphony Orchestra is a fully professional, full symphony orchestra, 90 musicians, founded in 1925. We're in the middle of planning for our approaching centennial season in 2025, and very excited to be one of the most successful regional orchestras in the Midwest, and very, very pleased to be producing symphony concerts in a great town like Madison, Wisconsin. Great place for classical music. So we do 25 main stage subscription concerts a year, and a whole portfolio of really innovative educational programs for K through 12. And we have an award-winning nationally recognized program in music therapy, heartstrings we call it. And all of these performances are affected or threatened to be affected by the coronavirus crisis, of course. We've canceled the concerts from April through January, and we have created a relief fund and appeal to the community to support the Madison Symphony Orchestra Musicians Relief Fund with great success. So we've been able to make support payments to our players to cover all of the payrolls from April of last season through December of this season. And we're very proud of that, and we're proud of our orchestra, and we're just going to do everything we can to help them keep body and soul together as we work our way through this. And as we see what develops in the spring, we'll continue to work as hard as we can for our artists and our community. Like everyone else, we've pivoted to virtual performances. You can't get 90, and this is a winter season orchestra. And so, of course, we aren't going to be able to do outdoor concerts in this kind of weather. But we do have two small orchestra projects in the pipeline, depending on the progress of COVID-19 in the spring and later in the winter. So we hope that we'll be able to produce those if the numbers lighten up and we're able to get 30 musicians together in Overture Hall. We've already this fall, we've done several recitals. The great pianist Philippe Bianconi, one of our favorite guest artists, streamed a live recital to Madison from his apartment in Paris in early October. And we've had two organ recitals on our fabulous Overture concert organ, one by our curator and principal organist, Greg Zellick, another by the legendary Paul Jacobs, who is faculty at Juilliard, and both terrific successes. We have a holiday project in the works, which we'll talk about later. We're having a blast with that. And we're going to continue our education programs in a virtual format, no matter what. So we're, like everyone else, working just as hard as we can to continue to serve Greater Madison and Dane County. So thanks for being here.
Okay, Jody, now that you're back, we'd love for you to be able to finish what you were talking about.
I'm not sure where I ended. What was I talking about? I mean, mostly I wanted to say that we decided with the artists we had scheduled not to try and pursue virtual exhibitions, but that we were able to use print media and social media to promote their work as much as we could. I hope you all were able to hear this, but stop me if I'm repeating myself. As part of the Academy, of course, we have other programming. And so we've been doing readings by the winners of our poetry and fiction contest on Facebook Live every Thursday morning. And those have been really successful and fun. And we've also got a series of online talks coming up February through May called The Roots of Democracy. And we have experts in several native systems of governance, including the Haudenosaunee or Iroquois Confederacy, classical Greek democracy, and others, talking about the streams of political action that have fed into the creation of the American Constitution, which feels very timely. I'm really looking forward to that. And one of the things I've been doing personally, I'm very grateful that my executive director has been flexible about what we do from day to day, because the gallery isn't open. I've been able to help with some of our events. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to finish that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, wow, we did it. We went through everybody. And I hope the audience out there that are watching this or listening to this got some insight on where everyone is right now. I'm continuing to be impressed because, you know, when this pandemic hit, we could have all just closed our doors and done nothing and just sat there and moved through this, but not one of you have done that, right? You're all, like, everybody's involved in the virtual land and wanting to stay connected in community. And we have such a great community that has been supporting all of us in all of this. And Madison is fortunate to have Overture Center and all of you in it. You know, I moved here 12 and a half years ago to work here. And I was like, I'm not moving to Madison, Wisconsin. Like, that was nothing on my radar screen until I walked into Overture. And I saw all the work that was happening there and your performances and the work that you all are doing and everything else in the building. And I was impressed at the size of this community and the quality and quantity of the arts. And like I said, continue to be impressed as we move forward in all of this. And thank you, really, for bringing your art form front and center at this time, keeping everyone connected to the arts. You know, during the year and during the summer, we have all been coming together as the Resident Company Advisory Council to discuss the challenges that have been happening and to look at our future and to, you know, work together with Overture Center to realize whatever we can realize during this time and what it looks like in the future. And I'd love to hear, you know, any of the positive outcomes that have come out with this. And I'd love to start with you, Jen. You are the chair of the council.
Thanks, Tim. It was so good to hear from all of my colleagues just now about everything you're working on. Yeah, absolutely, Tim. There have been positives that have come out of this time, and I'm sure everybody listening tonight can feel the same way looking at their own lives. It's easy to look at all of the things that have been negatives about this year, but we can all, if we put our minds to it, think of some positives. The resident companies have been meeting regularly since Overture opened with leadership from Overture Center to talk about common issues. Typically, those meetings happen about quarterly. Sometimes they're more frequent, such as when we all came together to plan that wonderful 10th anniversary concert a number of years back. But when everything shut down so quickly, we moved to weekly meetings, and for a few months we were meeting on Zoom or Microsoft Teams every week. Then we stretched to 2 weeks. Now we're on a monthly meeting schedule. And what I've loved is seeing we were already supporting each other. We were already working collaboratively to solve problems, but the degree to which we were all having to learn new things really rapidly, and how quickly we came together to share what we were learning, and lift each other up. You know, working on our PPP applications for those federal loans was a really early example of how we all helped each other share information, techniques, tips, because of course the guidance from the government felt like was changing on an hourly basis. We were able to help each other with that, with questions about other funding sources, safety plans as we've contemplated different ways to share our art, streaming plans, ticketing information. Really, each of us has been experimenting for the last 8 months. And what I've really loved to see in this particular group is how much we've been sharing what we're learning from those experiments, whether it's to say, hey, I just did this thing and I was really pleasantly surprised how well XYZ worked, or contrary, this was not worth it. This was really hard, or it didn't work well. So save yourself some time and don't work on that. So that's really been terrific. And another example would be that the Symphony was working with an epidemiologist to advise them on, what we could expect in terms of safety needs as we return to programming. And Rick arranged for that professional to come and talk with all of us as a group. So many more examples I could list, but really it's been a beautiful example of seeing all of us as an arts community come together to get through this time. And it looks like there's a question that's come through in the chat for Alan. So I will, pass the baton to you, friend.
Thank you, Jen. So someone posted or asked to give an update on the Madison Youth Arts Center building. That's the picture you see behind me here. I'm happy to say that construction is on schedule. We are due to get occupancy at late April, early May, and then we will move in and transition. The first programming that will really happen in the center will be in mid-June to late June, if we can. Again, it's all safety first. It's a $35 million capital campaign, and we're 1.7 million away from reaching that goal. So we are almost done with our campaign, and just really excited about what this center will mean for youth arts in the community. It's really a process place. So much of what we do with our youth is life skills. It's learning life skills through the arts, and so much happens in rehearsals and classes, and that's what this building is all about. We will still perform at Overture Center, some here, some there, but it really is a place for the work that you don't get to see on the city. It's all the work happening before you see the final product up on the stage or a class. So really excited. And it's a great partnership with our community. It's a collaborative partnership with Madison Youth Choirs, Children's Theater of Madison, and about 20 other youth arts organizations that are looking for space to do work. So really excited.
Great, thanks, Alan, for sharing that, and thanks for your question. Anybody else have any other comments about the last question about you coming? Go ahead, Kathryn.
Just wanted to add something else. When March happened and COVID shut down, Jackie Goetz and I had on our calendar some negotiation meetings for the contract between Overture and the resident organizations, which we've been working on for 2 years. And we'd actually gotten to the final terms. There were just some minor, small things for each organization. We had meetings COVID happened, and Jackie and I looked at each other and said, can we all sign a letter that puts these terms kind of in amber that says we got to hear a negotiation? We'll come back to it when we're back to performing and not put aside all that work. And Overture agreed, we all drafted a letter and all of us signed it pretty fast, which sounds minor, but for all of us to agree on a contractual thing, basically in the space of about a week, is pretty much a miracle. And also a tribute to Jackie and to Overture for everyone just agreeing, okay, right now, let's just work together on this and we will come back to business when we can. So it's been a wonderful business transaction to do.
Any other comments from anybody? Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I just want to add what I've been most impressed with, and I'm probably the new kid on the block. I've been here only about a year, but when the pandemic happened, everybody universally were thinking about their artists, their employees, and the community members. And I thought that was really just positive for me to see that we all just instantly went to the people that we serve, both internally and externally. And I think we continue to do that, but I think it just reinforces how arts can play a role in all of our lives. So I've appreciated that about this group.
Yeah, me too, really. Like, that's one of the things with Overture, you know, it's all about the people for all of us. And that's not the same, that's not true for everybody across the country. You see people trying to open buildings and then bam, they have to close back down because people got COVID. And they're trying to do this, oh, people got COVID, but right? Like, so yeah, that's a good comment. Thank you, Joe, for bringing that up because it's so true in our community and with all of you. For me, just to end this, if nobody else has anything, is I thought the communication just improved immensely during this time as we're all focused on similar issues. And, you know, as we work through all of this together, that, you know, that we're in this together is really a right phrase for, you know, the pandemic and our work at Overture. And so thank you, everybody, for that. The holidays are coming up. You know, it's a big time of the year for Overture. It's probably one of the busiest seasons ever during the year at Overture. And as many of you produce or present holiday programs that have become traditions in our community, really. And what does that mean to you this year if you're not able to bring a live audience together? How has that impacted your organization? And do any of you have anything special planned for the holidays this year?
Well, I'll pick that up right now. I mentioned we're working on a virtual holiday program. Every year, the Madison Symphony produces a tremendous Christmas spectacular, 3 performances, more than 6,000 people attend these concerts. And this year, of course, the in Overture Hall, we can't do it, it's canceled. The production includes 3 choruses, the Madison Symphony Chorus, the Madison Youth Choirs, the Mount Zion Gospel Choir, solo singers, the full orchestra. It's a really big production, and we love it. I mean, the stage is packed with hundreds of artists. So in lieu of that, what we've done is create a virtual Madison Symphony Christmas. The accompaniment for all of the singing is provided by Greg Zellick performing on the Overture concert organ, and yes, John DeMaine at the piano on stage in Overture Hall. Our 2 star opera singers, Kyle Kettles and Emily Secor, are pictured in recital format in the hall, but there's some surprises in store, and the choruses can't assemble together to sing, of course. So all of these choristers have produced their individual performances that are synced to a master click track, as they call it. And then these are edited together to give you a complete ensemble. It's been really fun, and it's turning out very, very well. So we're excited about our alternative program, the virtual Madison Symphony Christmas. It's a free community event, and it premieres on December 16th and will be streaming available for streaming until December 31st.
Rick, that sounds excellent. I'm really looking forward to tuning in. For Madison Ballet, the Nutcracker is essential to us. It's really devastating for our community that we're not able to come together in the way that we're used to. But as I said before, we're trying to figure out what we can do. Although we can't have 12,000 people from around the region come and see the magic of this production, we can't assemble the hundreds of people that make the production possible, whether that's the musicians of the chamber orchestra, our dancers, the community cast that comes together, the countless technicians and designers, incredible artists, all of them. We asked, what is this tradition, as we're on the cusp of this 40th year for us? And we look back on all of the incredible people that have come together over those last 39 years and what we hope to do in the future, which is to inspire new people. So with that, we've reached out to several of the company members from our past who are now scattered around the world, whose careers have evolved and taken them everywhere, to see if they'll come in and give a virtual class to our students. So we have a few workshops over the course of several weekends throughout December for students, both from the School of Madison Ballet, or if you're interested in dropping in, to get a taste of that magic of the Nutcracker. We're also calling on our community, you all, to share your stories with us. We've had really incredible audio stories, some drawings come in. We want photos. We want to create a video, a kind of picture postcard of everybody's experiences of the Nutcracker. So visit madisonballet.org and please send us your cherished memories of the season. And if you're looking for gifts, of course, to slide under the tree, we have lots of new merchandise. We've been able to get the original renderings of those massive drops from our set and have some really incredible new products that have come out with that. So we're doing everything we can to keep the spirit alive and to connect with you all. But really, we're just so hungry to be able to get back to work, get back to the stage, which I know we're all looking forward to next Christmas.
Yeah, Jonathan, I think I miss, the years where, MSO and ballet and children's theater at Madison were all basically doing holiday shows in the Overture and watching some of our people go, oh, I'm going to the Nutcracker tonight and I'm coming to your show, the next week. Christmas Carol is a really big production for children's theater at Madison. It's our largest production that we do every year. Usually around 8,000 audience members participate and countless artists, and Overtures is the Capitol Theater is a great home for that classic. And so this year we were realizing, hey, we could show an archival version of A Christmas Carol, but we just felt that was not going to connect with the community as we had watched some of our other CTM from the Vault series not really click with the community. And so to keep in the honor of A Christmas Carol, we found a public entity narrated version of A Christmas Carol that we've reached out to 80 plus community members. So those who have never been on stage before, but might be personalities within the community. So we have some surprise guests who will be saying a line from the show, along with youth and a diverse mix of people from many backgrounds who are going to be a part of this. And we will be launching that on December 18th. And in the spirit of Christmas, or the holidays, it's all about giving. It's all about giving back. And so this will be free. We're going to do a pay what you can or a donation or free. It doesn't matter, because we just want to connect. We just want to be there and share this and have the community share it. And Governor Evers is going to say a line. I think Paul Soglin is going to say bah humbug. Everett Mitchell is going to be saying a line. So we have really a broad community being involved. It becomes kind of a community carol, and it becomes really truly our Christmas Carol this year. So we hope that you will take that in and enjoy it and share it and in the spirit of the holidays. We miss you, and we're looking forward to sharing this with you.
Hi, well, this is Lisa from Canopy Dance. If you can hear me, yeah, okay. And, you know, we have a tradition of our Winter Fantasia show, and it's a big sellout for us and a big deal for us in that it brings together our company, our Canopy 2 pre-professional company, and some students and guest artists. And so you have youth and young people learning from and learning on stage from, you know, the masters and the professionals, etc. So we are really sad that we can't do it. Plus, it's a magical show of snow fairies and a Yggdrasil tree and, you know, stuff, just fanciful stuff that makes everybody feel good, you know. So we're sad. We're really sad about it, to tell you the truth. I have our artist that has played the role of Yggdrasil, the great tree, for years now, text me with all these little sad faces and tears going, I miss Yggdrasil. So anyway, it is what it is, right? But what we are doing for our students and our dancers and alum and community is we have gotten together a guest teacher, Anne Marie Loesch out of Chicago, who is a Humphrey Weidman dancer expert. Doris Humphrey Charles Weidman technique is a founding modern technique. And they are learning Charles Weidman's the masterwork Christmas Oratorio. And Charles Weidman created this work, and it's set to the glorious Bach's music, Christmas Oratorio. So they are learning some excerpts from it that they will be performing for friends and family live via Zoom, virtual, for friends and family right before the holidays, right around December 20th or so, 19th and 20th. And so that's what we figured we could do. These students will all be in their homes, all separated. We've asked them to find festive clothing that they can perform in and to decorate their environment festively. And our guest teacher will also talk a little bit about the history, the dance history of Charles Weidman and the famous work, Christmas Oratorio. So, and maybe, hopefully someday we'll be doing that live for audiences here. So that's what we're managing to do. And boy, we miss all of that. And we hope to bring Winter Fantasia back next Christmas. And can't wait to see some of all the other wonderful things that will be happening this winter. But anyway, so that's it.
Yeah, these are all great productions. I'm going to go to all of them. Joe here, Wisconsin Chamber Orchestra. We have done the Handel's Messiah for the last, I believe, well, long time, but for the last 11 years at Black Hawk Church. And this upcoming year, we were planning on to do a run out at the UW-Hamel Music Center, which is the new UW School of Music Performance Hall. So unfortunately, we won't be able to do a Handel's Messiah this year. And as Jonathan said, we've been in the pit of the ballet Nutcracker production in recent memory. And last year was my first year with the WCO, and it was just really fun to live vicariously through the musicians. Our musicians work really hard in December with Messiah and the Nutcracker. I think they do 13 or 14 services, rehearsals, and performances in the span of 8 or 9 days. So it's a very long haul. But they seem to love it, and it obviously has the festive spirit. And then the other production we unfortunately have to postpone. Last year we had a generous benefactor support and underwrite a winter celebration event at the UW-Hamel Music Center, and we want to make it a free annual event for our community. And we had a New Year's Day celebration planned, but we will have to wait until the pandemic's over. So we're pretty busy in the month of December, but this year we'll be ramping up and gearing up for our Winter Chamber Series that starts in early January.
Anybody else want to comment? Kathryn?
Sure. Again, I'm the opera, and we are normally the only arts group that does nothing in December because basically everyone else is. But when I asked baritone Will Liverman to do the December Live from the Opera Center concert, he was last year as Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker's Yardbird. Since his time with us early on in his career, he's like now the hot young baritone, but he's still loyal to us. I asked him what he wanted to sing, and he said he wanted to do a Christmas concert. And I said, okay, so we're doing a Christmas concert with our Live from the Opera Center on, I think it's December 18th, 19th, whichever is the Saturday. He will be joined by violinist Suzanne Bia from Madison. And it's part of our digital fall, but we're going to make it free to everyone. This one will be completely free online for 1 month. If you do not know, I assume you all know Suzanne Bia. If you do not know Will Liverman, he is an absolutely amazing baritone. So we'll do our first ever Christmas concert.
See, that's great, Kathryn. That's great. Lee Chow, you had your hand up. You wanted to say something.
Sorry. Okay. Hi. I just wanted to add that, well, someday we'll bring back our Nutcracker. But last year, around the same time, December, right before Hamilton, we performed our On Display at MMOCA. And this year we're going to do a virtual On Display global. So it's On Display is on December 3rd. It's on the very day of the day that recognizes persons with disabilities. It's an international day. And this event is a 24-hour event, and I'm organizing the local participation of it. So if anyone is interested in either participating in a sort of moving sculpture or in just coming and watching, let me know. The Madison group will be performing at 4 o'clock Central Time for an hour. So just let me know.
Great. Well, thank you, everybody, for sharing about the holidays. You know, you've all talked about what you're doing right now in the pandemic and how you are having full seasons in very different kinds of ways. And how do you think this pandemic is going to impact you or affect you for future seasons? If anybody wants to talk about that, let's just see your hands. Anybody? Go ahead, Kathryn.
I'll just say, who the heck knows? I'll just be the one to say it. We are working as we can. We're making it up as we go. The amazing thing about arts and artists and all of us is that we have kept going. I mean, all of us have canceled things. We've scheduled new things and then had to cancel them, but we're all finding a way to keep going. And so when I look at the future, I say, we will get there and we will still be here and we will keep supporting our artists. How and when, you know, stick with us, we'll get there.
Yeah, that's right. Sam, you wanted to say something?
Yes, we have been able to reach many audience members who can no longer come into the concert halls. So that has been wonderful for us to be able to present something where the audience members who are at home, they don't feel like they're missing out. They're getting the same quality programming that everybody else is right now, and that makes them feel included, and that makes us feel great. The other thing is that the interruption that this has caused for all of us has made us stop, made us pause, made us think about who are we excluding. You know, what do we need to be doing to serve everybody out there? And that's been a blessing in disguise, and everyone, I believe, has risen to that challenge. So, but of course, we hope to be back in the concert halls live with everybody, and we want to connect in person too. So we will relish that time when it comes, and it will come. It's going to be a wonderful celebration.
Thanks, Sam. Okay, Jen.
Thanks, Tim. And I couldn't agree with you more, Kathryn, in your very succinct and accurate assessment. I will add to it, I hear pretty much every day this fall from Forward's patrons who are really enjoying a lot of the digital offerings that we're making available to them right now. And, they're enjoying that as a placeholder, as an alternative. But for some folks, it's actually, more than that. We've got patrons who spend the winter someplace warmer than this, who now can see our whole season. We've got folks who are caregivers, who feel like they can take in what we're sharing when it's digital in a way that they couldn't always do. I don't think that digital offerings are the future of what those of us in this conversation do. Live performance is at the heart of all of our art forms. But I do think that this year, this pandemic, has shaken loose some resistance to incorporating new ways of sharing our art. I can speaking just for the professional theater, the fact that the unions and the licensing houses are open to allowing things to be shared digitally is a really big deal. And while I don't know what the post-pandemic options will be, I feel confident that digital sharing is going to remain in some ways on the table. So I'm optimistic that all of the crash course learning that we've all been doing over this past 8 months will serve us well long into the future, even after we, I'm knocking on all the wood here in my home, after we return to be with all of you in person in Overture Center.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, great comments, everyone. I would just add, I think, speaking on about myself and the WCO, I think we're all learning new ways of adding elements to production. And right now it's in a way out of necessity. In my case, I think this has been an interesting opportunity to bring our musicians closer to our patrons through musician spotlights, getting their stories out there. And I'll be curious to see, as we all return to live performing again, how some of the elements that we've added, in our case, musician and their stories and raising awareness to their story, will that continue, and how will that create the overall experience as our patrons come back to the performance hall? So, yeah, it's been fun to invent ways to engage in a new way, and I'm curious to see how that some of it continues and some of it just is, hey, remember during the pandemic when we had to do XYZ.
As a kind of another kind of question with this one, everybody, I forgot my train of thought. Darn, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, about doing work differently. Like everybody's saying, oh, the new norm is going to be a new norm, right? Do we all agree with that statement, that this will affect your work and change some things for you to think about differently in the future? Yeah, go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, I mean, I think absolutely. I don't think any of our organizations are coming out of this unscathed, if you would. I mean, we're all going to have to rebuild in some way. And so I know I'm part of a national organization, TYA USA, which is Theater for Young Audiences USA. And we have done a lot of talking about tyranny of the title, and how we tend to select shows sometimes based on how much money they're going to bring in, as opposed to really looking at programming in a different way. And I think this gives us an opportunity to not just give in to tyranny of the title, if you would. And I think also just in our classes, I think it's really hard to replace that in-person feeling or community that kids, so we deal with youth specifically, they need that community. And I'll just share anecdotally of a story that can't be recreated on Zoom. It was a summer stage where there was a young girl who got up to sing her moment, her solo in summer stage in a sharing. And we have all the other classes who are in there watching it was older kids from other classes. And she forgot her line and she couldn't come in. And the older kids in the back stood up and started cheering her on and making her feel good. And you can't do that in a Zoom environment. I mean, it doesn't resonate the same way. And she finally came in and she did it, and everyone gave her a standing ovation. And that feeling in that room at that time cannot be recreated in a Zoom. And that will have a lasting impact on that young woman's life, young girl's life. I mean, she will never forget that moment. And it was because of everyone lifting her up and being there for her. And so, I think we're going to get back to that someday. We have to get back to that because it just isn't the same.
I know when we open our doors and we all have audiences back, the emotion is going to be overpowering for us all. Like it is going to, we have to think about that as we plan and give time for that, because people will be very emotional. Any other comments on this by anybody? All right, well, thank you all for the comments. We have one final question for you. It's Thanksgiving is coming up this weekend, and we would love to hear one thing you are thankful for this Thanksgiving.
I get to go first again. There's many things I'm thankful for, but I'm going to finish where I began this evening, which is expressing special gratitude to the subscribers to Forward Theater. They're the reason that we could make the financial commitments to go into this current season, knowing we're going to lose a lot of money, but that's okay. We're following our mission of supporting audiences and supporting artists. 97% of our subscribers donated back their tickets from this spring show. The amount of confidence that gave us to commit to everything else we're doing this year is a gift I will be forever grateful for. As hard as this year has been, I have not had to make some of the really difficult decisions that so many of my colleagues around the country in particular have been faced with. And so I will be saying words of gratitude for all of you around my very small Thanksgiving table with just the people I live with this year.
Mine was simple, and it's what I would say in any year, which is I'm grateful for music. I'm grateful for what music does for us. I'm grateful for what it does to the audience. I'm grateful that we have it and we'll always have it, however we're doing it.
I echo both of those sentiments. The amazing power of the arts to bring joy, to provide relief, and the fact that we get to do it together. Madison has got an incredibly curious, intrepid, supportive audience, and that is our most significant and powerful asset. So, power of the arts, and thank you to you all.
I think we all share this so much. I had somebody the other day ask me, why continue making art right now? And I was like, oh, that's a very interesting question. And what my answer is, and she knew what the answer would be, was that we have to have art. It's all we have in our souls as a community. It's what brings our humanity, our community, all of us together, whether you're the artist, the audience member, the young person learning, the old person learning, doesn't matter. It's the creativity and creative process that it's in everybody, depending on, whether you use it a lot or use it some or whatever, and then the sharing of that. And so no matter what, Kathryn said it very well with the music, and I say it for the dance and for all the arts, that it will keep going no matter what. And I'm very grateful for that. And of course, for all of the community and all our supporters that are helping us make it through, and to not, just keep existing. And for the federal Governor Evers grant and some of those things that have helped us all and keep us going, the PPP and all of those sorts of things. So we're just very grateful for art.
I'm going to speak personally for a moment and echo a lot of these sentiments. My wife and I are expecting our first child in the beginning of next year. And in spite of all of the challenges and all of the obstacles that have faced this group, because of the good collaborative leadership of the Overture Center and all of the resident companies, my little girl is going to grow up in a community that invests in and believes and appreciates the arts. And that means the world to me, to know that her life is going to be enriched by all of the good work that everyone that you've heard from tonight does. So I have lots to be grateful for.
No making us cry, Jonathan. Come on. No, that I have to echo what others have said. I am thankful for this community, not just art community, but patron community and Madison as a whole. As Jen pointed out, our subscribers stepped up. You stepped up. We would not be here if it wasn't for your graciousness, you coming to see the shows, donating your tickets back. So thank you. It's what I'm thankful for each and every day, and so humbled by the leadership in the arts in Madison that we have here. We are very fortunate and lucky, and we have amazing supporters out there. So thank you all.
Congrats, Jonathan. It's great. Yeah, great words, everybody. I am very thankful. I love how much faith that our community has in the arts and just around the world and what arts can do. I mean, this summer when we were out, you know, you go for a walk, and I remember distinctly once there was someone playing a trumpet upstairs on the 3rd floor of one of my neighbor's house, and it was like the first time I heard live music since the pandemic. It just really struck me. So I think these little micro moments that we all have through art, whether it's through our companies or our community, it's pretty magical. And I think I'm very thankful that art has that power for all of us and all of our community members to make that possible, both within our ecosystem at Overture, but all around the community. So thank you.
I'm so grateful for all these wonderful, talented, intelligent, smart people around me. I am so grateful for the privilege to keep on going and to be working and growing and changing and learning. And yeah, for the amazing power of the arts to heal. So.
Yeah, I want to echo so much of what's been said too. The support for art and music and live performance within this community is so important. And for me, I'm really grateful for the chance this year, despite all the stress and worry and extra weird work online, the opportunity to reflect and to really recognize what's most important to me. And the arts are one of those things. My neighbor down the street is a jazz musician, and they were playing in the driveway the other day, a little trio, and it just broke my heart. It's so important. Thank you all.
Well, grateful for many things. I think most grateful for the cohesion of the symphony family, the greater symphony family. I mean, the orchestra, the volunteers, the administration, the stakeholders, the audience, and the donors. And, you know, it's a strong bonds there. And that's getting us through. And I think it'll keep getting us through. We'll just all stick together as we are doing right here tonight. So thanks to all of you, by the way.
And thanks to all of you for being here. Like, that was great. We are thankful. We're all thankful for the same things, and we are in a great community for that. It's been a pleasure spending an evening with you all, and I hope those of you who are watching this and experiencing this have been enlightened on where everybody is and what's happening in our world. Everybody has a website for you to go to that has up-to-date information as we continue to move through the pandemic. And I would advise you going there often, because it changes quickly in the world that we live in. And what you may think about something in like March or April, that is so far away right now in our worlds. But thank you again, everybody. I'm going to turn over to Emily, who's going to close us out tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, Jen, Kathryn, Sam, Lisa, Jonathan, Alan, Joe, Lee Chow, Jody, Rick, and Jackie and Tim. Thank you so much for sharing these insights and your plans with us. This has just been an uplifting night. Yeah, I took some notes during while you were speaking, and a few things really stood out. I mean, first, Overture may be closed, but certainly the arts are not. It is fantastic to see how the diverse fabric of our artistic community is still intact, even though we can't see each other in person. And thank you, all of you out in the audience, for continuously welcoming us into your homes and joining us in our homes. There's a level of intimacy that we are experiencing that we don't generally get to have in the theater. We have it in different ways. We have it internally, and then we have our social interactions with our friends and other patrons that we meet. But we don't get to be inside each other's homes. And that's a place where we all can feel very comfortable. And perhaps there's different types of transformations that are happening inside of us in those atmospheres. One of the aspects of Overture's mission is to support and elevate the creative culture of the community. And right now we're more in sustaining mode of the creative culture, but not really. When you hear all these great things that are happening, we are poised for strength and greatness in the future. Art that is intentionally rebuilt with equity at its heart, that all of the things that we have learned during this time carry forward with us, that there's still this commitment to inspiring and training the next generation of artists. And we can't do that without you and your support. Again, I echo everyone's gratitude to you, our patrons and our donors and our community members who participate and enjoy the arts, and make sure that we will get through this time. And so on this Thanksgiving, thank you for all you do so we can do what we can do until we can do it all together. Until the curtain rises again, be well and thank you.